There is something controlling your life right now. And you can't see it. You can't touch it. You can't point to it. But it's there, shaping your decisions, your actions, and your results. Backhand index pointing right, it's your beliefs. Most people think their limits come from the outside world. Lack of money. Lack of opportunity. Lack of support. But the truth is, backhand index pointing right, the biggest limits are internal. They are the stories you've accepted as truth. I'm not good enough. I can't do this. People like me don't succeed. And the dangerous part? You don't question them. Because they don't feel like beliefs. Backhand index pointing right, they feel like reality. So you act accordingly. You play small. You hesitate. You avoid risks. Not because you're incapable. But because your mind has already decided what's possible for you. And once your mind decides that, your behavior follows. That's how powerful beliefs are. They don't just influence your life. Backhand index pointing right, they control it. Here's the part most people don't realize. You weren't born with these beliefs. They were created. Over time. Through experiences, environment, and repetition. A failure becomes a label. A comment becomes a truth. A moment becomes a meaning. Maybe someone told you. Backhand index pointing right, you're not smart. Backhand index pointing right, you're too quiet. Backhand index pointing right, you can't do that. And at the time, you accepted it. Not because it was true, but because it was repeated. And repetition creates belief. The more you hear something, the more your mind accepts it. Until one day, it becomes automatic. You don't even think about it anymore. Backhand index pointing right, you just act based on it. That's how people live inside invisible limits. Not because they're real, but because they've been repeated long enough to feel real. Your beliefs act like a filter. They determine what you see, what you ignore, and how you interpret everything around you. If you believe you're not capable, backhand index pointing right, you'll notice every failure. And ignore every opportunity. If you believe things never work out for you, backhand index pointing right, you'll expect disappointment. And unconsciously create it. That's how powerful the mind is. It doesn't just observe reality. Backhand index pointing right, it shapes it. Because your beliefs influence your actions. And your actions create your results. Not all beliefs are obvious. Some are loud. I'm not good enough. I can't succeed. But the most dangerous ones are quiet. They hide in your daily thinking. They sound normal. Logical. Even realistic. Backhand index pointing right, I'll try later. Backhand index pointing right, that's just not for me. Backhand index pointing right, I'm not that type of person. These beliefs don't feel limiting. They feel like facts. And that's what makes them powerful. Because you don't question them. You don't challenge them. You simply accept them, and act accordingly. Over time, these small, unnoticed beliefs shape your entire behavior. They influence what you attempt, and what you avoid. They determine how you respond to opportunities, and how quickly you give up. And the worst part? Backhand index pointing right, you think it's just who you are. But it's not. It's a pattern. A mental script that has been repeated so many times that it now feels like your identity. And until you become aware of it, you will keep living inside it. Because you can't change what you don't see. Your beliefs don't just sit in your mind. They act. Every single day. They decide how much effort you put in. How far you're willing to go. How quickly you stop. If you believe something won't work, backhand index pointing right, you won't fully commit. You'll hesitate. You'll hold back. And when it doesn't succeed, you'll say, I knew it. But it wasn't reality that failed. Backhand index pointing right, it was your belief shaping your behavior. This is what makes limiting beliefs so dangerous. They create self-fulfilling outcomes. You expect less, so you do less. And because you do less, you get less. And that result reinforces the belief. Backhand index pointing right, see? I was right. That cycle repeats. Again and again. Until it feels permanent. But it's not permanent. It's programmed. And anything programmed, backhand index pointing right, can be reprogrammed. Everything changes the moment you become aware of your beliefs. Because awareness creates distance. Instead of automatically reacting, you begin to observe. You catch yourself thinking. Backhand index pointing right, wait, why do I believe this? And that question is powerful. Because it interrupts the pattern. It creates space between you and the belief. And in that space, you have a choice. You can continue believing it. Or you can challenge it. Most people never reach this point. They live on autopilot. Reacting instead of reflecting. But once you become aware, you can't unsee it. You begin to notice the patterns. The excuses. The doubts. The automatic thoughts. And for the first time, you realize. Backhand index pointing right, this isn't me, this is a belief. And that realization is the beginning of change. Once you become aware of a belief, the next step is to challenge it. Not emotionally, but logically. Ask yourself, backhand index pointing right, is this actually true? Backhand index pointing right, or is this something I've repeated so many times that it feels true? Because most limiting beliefs don't come from evidence. They come from interpretation. One failure becomes, backhand index pointing right, I'm not good at this. One rejection becomes, backhand index pointing right, I'm not worthy. But those are conclusions, not facts. And when you start questioning them, they begin to lose their power. Because beliefs only control you when they go unchallenged. The moment you question them, you weaken them. And once they weaken, you create space for something new. You don't eliminate a belief by removing it. You replace it. Because the mind doesn't like empty space. If you take something out, something else must go in. So once you identify a limiting belief, you choose a new one. Not something unrealistic, but something empowering and possible. Instead of, backhand index pointing right, I can't do this. You shift to, backhand index pointing right, I can learn this. Instead of, backhand index pointing right, I always fail. You shift to, backhand index pointing right, I'm improving. These small shifts matter. Because beliefs guide action. And new beliefs create new behaviors. A new belief doesn't become real the moment you choose it. It becomes real the moment you prove it, again and again. Because your mind doesn't believe words. Backhand index pointing right, it believes evidence. You can tell yourself, I'm confident. I'm capable. I can do this. But if your actions don't match, your mind rejects it. So the real question is not, backhand index pointing right, what should I believe? It's, backhand index pointing right, what can I start doing to make this belief real? Because every action you take sends a signal. A signal that says, backhand index pointing right, this is who I am becoming. You don't build confidence by thinking. You build it by acting, especially when it's uncomfortable. Speaking up when you'd normally stay silent. Taking action when you'd usually hesitate. Trying again when you'd normally quit. These moments may feel small. But they are powerful. Because each one creates proof. And that proof starts to rewrite your internal story. At first, it feels forced. Unnatural. Like you're pretending. But if you stay consistent, something shifts. That new belief begins to feel familiar. Then comfortable. Then automatic. And one day, you won't even question it anymore. Backhand index pointing right, it will feel like you. At the end of the day, your life is not controlled by what happens to you. Backhand index pointing right, it's controlled by what you believe about what happens to you. Two people can face the same situation. One sees a problem. The other sees an opportunity. One gives up. The other adapts. Same reality. Different beliefs. And those beliefs create completely different lives. That's the power you've had all along. Not in controlling everything around you, but in controlling how you interpret it. And that interpretation shapes everything. Your confidence. Your decisions. Your actions. Your results. So if you want to change your life, don't start with your circumstances. Start with your beliefs. Because the moment you change what you believe is possible. Backhand index pointing right, you change what you're willing to attempt. And the moment you change your actions. Backhand index pointing right, you change your results. That's the chain reaction. Belief, action, outcome, identity. And it all starts internally. So here's the real question. Backhand index pointing right, what belief has been controlling your life, without you realizing it? And more importantly, backhand index pointing right, what new belief are you ready to choose today? Because whether you realize it or not, you are always believing something. The only difference is, backhand index pointing right, are those beliefs limiting you, or empowering you? Fire, and the moment you take control of that. Backhand index pointing right, you don't just change your thinking. You change your entire life. Most people will hear this. And they'll go right back to living the same way. Same thoughts. Same beliefs. Same results. Because awareness without action. Backhand index pointing right changes nothing. But if you're serious about taking control of your life, this is where it begins. Right now, do this. Backhand index pointing right, step 1, identify one limiting belief. Ask yourself, what's one thought I keep repeating that's holding me back? Maybe it's, I'm not good enough. I always fail. I can't do this. Be honest. Backhand index pointing right, step 2, challenge it. Ask, is this actually true, or is this something I've just accepted? Look for evidence. Not feelings. Facts. Backhand index pointing right, step 3, replace it. Choose a stronger belief. Backhand index pointing right, I can learn this. Backhand index pointing right, I'm improving. Backhand index pointing right, I'm capable of growth. Keep it realistic, but empowering. Backhand index pointing right, step 4, prove it. Take one small action today that supports that new belief. Not tomorrow. Now. Because action is what makes belief real. If you want to understand how your mind really works, if you want to break the patterns that are holding you back, and if you're ready to build a version of yourself that actually gets results, then this channel is for you. Because here, we don't just motivate you. Backhand index pointing right, we help you reprogram how you think, so your life changes permanently. So make sure you subscribe now. And join a community of people who are done living on autopilot, and ready to take control. Backhand index pointing right, the moment you change your beliefs, you change your life. I'll see you in the next episode.